look, they're going to keep going because we are about to move on to the longest running segment on Let's Talk Football, the Roundtable, Diversity with Delilah. There you go. Willie Lanier.
All right. So I wanted to give credit to Nathan because he, I do try to always not just feature diversity, but like different positions in football, right? And so Nate was like, "Hey, have you done a feature on Willie Lanier?" He's always tricky because the French would say Lanier, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, so Willie Lanier, and so I'm gonna feature him because he is the first Black man to play the position of linebacker. All right, and so thank you, Nate, for suggesting him because it's a good one. There's not too much in his background because again, this is like because he was born around the 1940s and stuff. Even though he played in the 60s, there's not a lot in his background other than he is from Richmond, Virginia. He's from Richmond, Virginia, born in Clover, and attended Maggie L. Walker High School. So that's basically that's pretty much all I could find on his background. I couldn't find too much on his family or anything like that, and I looked everywhere. I'm sure I'm gonna have to like deep dive further at another time, but I really couldn't find too much. So anyway, so again, just not too much in his background, but he did go to Morgan State. That is the college that he went to. So basically what they're saying is when he went to Morgan, he became an immediate impact player for the Brayers. He was named Small College All-American his junior and senior years. And so where he was twice selected Small College Football All-America team. He was also chosen MVP of the Tangerine Bowl. He is also a member of the Pigskin Club of Washington, D.C., the National Intercollegiate All-American Football Players Honor Roll. And so basically he was a big dude. He was 6'1", 245 pounds. And so a second round draft pick by the Kansas City Chiefs in 1967. So again, big dude. In college, like I said, I was looking at his stats, and pretty much what they were saying is that he was an impact player right away in that he earned these accolades, but I couldn't find any like specific stuff. But the fact that he did get, Small College Football All-America twice and became MVP of the Tangerine Bowl tells me that it was a successful, college career. He presented an awesome image to any quarterback who lined up against him. He became known and respected for his ability to track down enemy ball carriers and basically like devastate them with his tackles. He was called Contact, so his nickname was Contact because his hits were so powerful. He basically laid you out. But they're also saying he was also a very smart player, so it wasn't just all brawn. He was actually very smart at his role. He was all pro, all AFL, or all AFC every year from 1968 through 1975. He was elected to the last two AFL All-Star games following the 1968 and 1969 seasons, and the first 6 AFC NFC Pro Bowl games after the merger. There's before the merger and after the merger, right? Because, if you guys follow football history, we know there was, 2 and then they merged, right? And so basically even after that, he made a bunch of Pro Bowls. He was a defensive MVP in the 1971 Pro Bowl. For a defensive player, he also did well kind of statistically. So basically he intercepted at least 2 passes every year and wind up with 27 steps, which were returned for 440 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also recovered 18 fumbles. His his specific position was middle linebacker. Again, for Kansas City, he spent 11 seasons with them, 1967 through 1977. Again, he is the first African-American to start at that demanding position. He wasn't only just a true pioneer, but also the key man on one of the National Football League's strongest defensive teams, because at the time, Kansas City Chiefs were dominating. They did go to the Super Bowl 4, where they won, and he was part of that team. He was quoted as saying, because he did, thankfully, he is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So he said, "Those who evaluated me never thought I was as good as I thought I was. You see, I came into the pro football with a heck of a purpose. I looked upon it as a hell of a challenge to prove something. Being the first black middle linebacker placed me in an unusual position." He also ended his speech with saying, "I think it is important for all young people that try to make decisions that would affect their lives in the future, that they recognize that these kinds of events are possible for all of you out there, regardless of background, circumstances, or maybe if you have to call your coaches, ask what college you should attend. He said, I would like to thank everyone who has attended." So basically, he's basically saying, like, everyone has kind of a mentor or someone that you should talk to, right? So, like, figure out, like, where you should actually go for football college, right? Because he went to a small school, right? He went to Morgan State, and still he ended up being, drafted into the league, where, again, he spent 8 All-Star games. He has 27 interceptions that I've said in his career. 18 fumble recoveries, spent 11 seasons, Super Bowl champion for Super Bowl 4, NFL Man of the Year in 1972. He made the NFL 75th anniversary All-Team. He also made the NFL 100th anniversary All-Team. He is in the Kansas City Chiefs Hall of Fame. The Kansas City Chiefs number 63, which is what he wore, was retired. And he was inaugurated in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1986. So again, a pioneer in his time. Again, first African-American to play middle linebacker, and kind of paved the way for others to follow. So that's Willie.
Yeah, nice. I can dig it. Thank you for that, Delilah. Willie Lanier is definitely one of the most amazing linebackers of his time, and if you talk to, I've seen a lot of like videos of him in that time, and some of the other linebackers that were with him. And there was a white guy that was next to him. He was just like, when I saw him play, there was no color. It was
right,
because sports to me was always it was the biggest equalizer.
Right.
Once you come on the field,
and, like,
you know what you can do.
Those Kansas City Chiefs, like, if anybody studied like the 60s, that era, like, they were like, they were great.
Yeah, they were great
like
in the AFL.
Yeah,
once they got to they were actually in the first Super Bowl where they lost 35-10 to the Green Bay Packers.
But then it was Super Bowl 4.
Ben Dawson and the Chiefs won with Hank Stram as coach. They won 23-7 over the Minnesota Vikings. So redemption, and after that game.